He dropped me off at Rugby train station, and yeah, in my head I was still going back to Norfolk, but once I was stood outside the train station, I thought, well, my car's here. I'm gonna need to get it recovered eventually. So yeah, and I was shattered, mate. I'd been at work all day. I'd been messing around with the car. I was mentally exhausted. So I just went online, booked myself a hotel. Yeah, and then walked from Rugby train station. Yeah, it said that it was a 5-minute walk from the train station. It wasn't. I was walking for a good half an hour, but since I'd been walking for a while, you know, it didn't bother me that much. Even when I got to the hotel, the guy come down, I'm still at the desk, he said, I'll be with you in a minute. And he honestly left me standing there like a plonker for like 10 minutes while he was in the bar, just stood there watching the footy. And I was raging, mate. I was really I was just stood there trying to concentrate on my breathing. And I just kept saying to myself, you know, just get in the room. Just get in the room. Don't argue with anyone. Just get in the room. And eventually I got in my room. I had a shower. I had something to eat. And I went to sleep. I was shattered. The next day when I woke up, I thought I should make my way back to the car and just spend the day trying to get the car recovered. I'd calmed down a lot. I was just really tired. You know, I was no longer thinking about smashing the car up or acting childish or yeah. Yeah. And while I was on my way to the car, I'm calling all these different recovery companies, and then I got through to a recovery company called Crouch Recovery, and I told her what had happened, and she was giving me some prices, and she said, okay, you'll have to be there with the car. And I was like, yeah, I'm making my way to the car. She asked for my name, and she asked for the number plate and the make and the model. When I gave her the number plate, she said, is this about the car that's in our compound? And I said, no, this is about my car. She said, we've got a black Ford Focus with your number plate in our compound that was picked up from the M6 last night on behalf of the highways. So yeah, you've got my car then, which is a weight off my mind, because I thought I didn't know whether it was legal leaving the car there. I didn't know if it was safe. I kept thinking, you know, if someone, I don't know, you know, people don't pay attention, and sometimes they veer off the white line just a little bit, but they can correct themselves. Well, if there's a car on the other side of the white line, even though it was tucked over as much as I could, but you know, I was just, you know, overthinking like a million different things. So I was at least happy that they had my car. The price to recover the vehicle back to Norfolk was nearly £1,000. What the lady on the phone suggested was that I have it recovered to a local garage to where it was, get the garage to fix it, and then it would cost me less money to pay Crouch to move it from A to B. Then I could just get it fixed, and then I could have my car back. I said, yeah, okay, fine, that makes more sense. She said, right, but you can't recover the vehicle until Monday because it's Saturday. While I'm talking to her, it's Saturday. Then she told me all I would need to do to recover it on the Monday would be to call them up, email them a copy of the logbook, pay the release fee, and I could have my car back. So I explained to her that I don't have the logbook. It's a new vehicle. I've only just sent off for the logbook and I'm waiting to receive it. And she basically told me that I can't release it without it. So yeah, obviously they'll keep the vehicle, they'll be charging me storage, and when I've got the logbook, all I've got to do is call them, call Crouch, I can have my car back basically. She did say to me that normally there's a time limit on how long they have vehicles before they crush them, but that time limit is only relevant if they recover a vehicle and no one's got in touch with them, or they can't find a registered keeper, or there's no one on the DVLA website, you know, being the owner of the vehicle. And she said it's, you know, like a month or something. So I thought, sound, you know, I'll get the logbook back in that time. And even if I don't, I can just keep ringing them and just assuring them. She said that she put it on my file, made a note, all that stuff. So it was all good. 3 or 4 days after that, I got a text message from the wife of the man who I'd bought the car from, saying that she'd had an email from a company called NVRM Storage, and that they were trying to stick her with a bill for, I think, 500 or 600 quid, 550 quid or whatever, because she is in fact the last registered keeper. So she CC'd me into an email thread, a bit of back and forth between them, where she'd asked, you know, had I not been in touch with them, and they'd replied no. And there's a good reason for that. Like, I have no idea who they are. I have no idea what they've got to do with my vehicle. I didn't know that they existed. So now I'm worried that the person who I bought the vehicle from thinks that I've intentionally done something to the car and just thought, oh, they can pay for it. So I explained to NVRM Storage that I'd been in correspondence with Crouch Recovery, and that they told me they had my vehicle, and there was a whole file there. So, you know, who are they, basically? And they said, NVRM said that they were the company that had my vehicle. They were storing my vehicle. They were the ones that would be billing me. They would be the ones that would be chasing me up. And they did. And they give me, I think, because the car had been in there like 4 days, they give me 9 days to pay it. Otherwise they'd crush it. So then I got back in touch with Crouch and asked, who's this other company? Why are they stating that they've got my vehicle? Do you have my vehicle, or do they have my vehicle? And she said that the other company was basically the highways. So they're the police, the highways, the government, whatever you like. They're the highways, right? And I've explained to him, like, is it not on my little file? He said there was a note there that it was understood that I was waiting for the logbook. And she said, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. They won't crush it. Just make sure you call them back and say the same thing. So I called NVRM Storage up, and I explained to them that I was waiting for my logbook, and that could they please put it on the note. You know, it was like quite frustrating, pretty confusing. Can they put a note on my file not to crush my car, please? I want my car back. I'm just waiting for the logbook. They said, yep, fine. Get in touch with us as soon as you get your logbook. 3 days after that, I got an email from NVRM Storage stating that because I hadn't been in touch with them, they were going to crush my car, which pissed me off no end, because I'd been in touch with them a couple of days before. I'd explained to them and Crouch. They both said that they put a note on my file and that everything was fine. Yeah, so I just said, crush it then. Just crush it, right? And send me a bill so I can be done with you, right? And then NVRM Storage basically said to me that even though I could ring up someone and have a car scrapped now, right? But they don't do that. What they do is they hold your vehicle in storage and they book an appointment for it to be crushed. And you have to pay the storage leading all the way up to when it's going to be crushed, right? So then I got in touch with Crouch again, because I still at this point wasn't 100% sure on who's responsible. Who am I dealing with? Who do I pay one company, then I have to go and pay the other company? Who's actually got my car? Who can actually make all this finish as quickly as possible? I'm getting in a mood now just thinking about it. Oh, what a nightmare it all was. Spoke to a lady at Crouch, told her I want done with the whole thing. I want done with all of them. Give me the bill, I'll pay the bill. She told me the bill over the phone, right? I paid it. I said, I'd like a receipt, please, and I'd like just some sort of verification that I'm finished with you lot, that it's all done. She said, yeah, the bill's paid, and I'll send you a receipt out like as soon as I get off the phone. I said, okay, fine. Put the phone down. Yeah, slightly relieved that it was all done with, but really annoyed. Like, really annoyed. I paid the bill. I think the bill was like, I think it was about, I don't know, it was 500-600 quid. That's not it. 4 days go by. I haven't heard from them. I've got no receipt. I'm worried that NVRM Storage have still got my vehicle, and they're still going to charge me storage, and that it hasn't been crushed yet, and I've got no receipt. So I ring Crouch back up, and I speak to another lady. By the way, I know I keep saying lady. I'm not trying to say they don't know what they're talking about. It's not what I'm getting at, but it's relevant. They were ladies. It's only relevant because it's the truth. And this lady that I spoke to told me that they had a lot of staff, a lot of new staff in the office at Crouch at the minute. And a lot of them don't really know what they're up to at the minute. And when I spoke to someone 4 days before and paid my bill, they'd missed some of my fees off. And there was still, I think it was 170, 180 quid outstanding. And so I'd rang them up to ask for my receipt to prove that it was all done with. And she informed me that it wasn't done with. And I told her that she could go back and listen to her company's recorded conversation where one of her company's representatives had told me it was done. It's done. I've paid it. I literally said to them, is the matter closed? Is this final? She said, yep, that's done. And she said, yeah, I completely understand your frustration. The trouble is, you're dealing with the highways. You're dealing with, yeah, which is like a government highway branch. She said, they're not going to entertain that at all. They'll pursue you for the costs. If you don't pay it, they'll hand it off to a debt collecting agency. And we all know what they're like. They won't leave you alone. It will just escalate. So now I had to pay them even more. So 500 or 600 quid for the storage and the crushing fees, 170 quid for the fees that the lady had forgotten, right? 300 quid to Adrian Flux, about 200 quid to Hastings, 700 quid for the car. Then when I rang Adrian Flux and told them that I wanted to cancel my policy because the vehicle doesn't exist anymore, their cancellation fee was £270. Yay! Brilliant, mate. Brilliant. I am currently still paying tax on this vehicle because I'm no good with all the going online, sorting stuff out. I'm still paying tax on it because like the car has done my head in so much that I can't even bring myself to just type the number plate into another search engine. But yeah, moral of the story, always get breakdown cover, always, right? Always get a vehicle serviced that you've just bought. The responsibility lands on me, and I do take full responsibility for it. I'm the one that rushed into it. I'm the one that I only had a weekend to spend doing it. It is my fault, but it has left a bitter taste in my mouth. Just to make this clear, not towards my friend at all, not one bit. He had nothing to do with it. Yeah, the fault lays with me, but it's been a nightmare. Still, gotta laugh, ain't you?